Welcome back. You're watching Newscentre. United States President Joe Biden has issued the National Security Strategy, a mandatory exercise for every new administration. The fine print, which was delayed last winter on the back of an imminent Russian invasion of Ukraine, highlights that the key priority for the Biden administration is outcompeting China and constraining Russia. Biden, in the 48-page document, highlighted that Russia poses an immediate threat to the free and open international system. He said that China is the only competitor with the intent to reshape the international order and increasingly the economic, diplomatic, military and technological power to advance that objective. India features prominently on Biden's security strategy as well. The document highlights that United States and India will work together bilaterally and multilaterally to support a shared vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific. Meera Shankar, former Indian envoy to the United States, is with us to discuss this and much more. Ambassador Shankar, let me begin by asking you about the reference to Russia. The White House National Security Strategy said that Russian military will, having been weakened, will likely increase reliance on nuclear weapons in their military planning. And the US will do everything to make sure that they deter and do not allow Russia to use nuclear weapons. Considering that this is there in the National Security Strategy, how big a threat of nuclear escalation do we see right now?
Well, I think that the US and the UK have both clarified subsequently, including President Joe Biden, that they have not received any specific information which would indicate that President Putin is getting ready to deploy nuclear weapons or to use them in Ukraine. So I think there's been a subsequent damping down of the imminent nature of this threat. But yes, in the past, whichever country has been weaker in the field of conventional defense has traditionally sought to enhance its nuclear deterrence capability vis-a-vis its nuclear-armed rival. So you could expect Russia to place more emphasis on nuclear weapons as an element of future deterrence against the US if it finds itself economically weakened and also weakened in the field of conventional defense. But that's for the future.
Right. Okay, I'd also like to ask you about the Indo-Pacific. The strategy said, the paper said that US today is needed more in Indo-Pacific than ever before since the Second World War. What do you think will be the next phase of strategy by the US administration when it comes to the Indo-Pacific and involvement with India there?
Well, if you see the National Security Strategy paper, and you mentioned, it's basically looking at outcompeting China through responsible competition, as it calls it, and not eschewing the possibility of cooperation where possible in the pursuit of meeting global challenges which require cooperation across borders. With Russia, it actually talks of constraining Russia, and it sees it as an immediate threat because of its invasion in Ukraine. But before this also, they talk of its military intervention in Syria, its interference in internal affairs of other countries, including the United States. And so you can see there's a distinction that they've drawn. They have not talked about constraining China. They have talked about outcompeting China and through responsible competition. On the other hand, they have talked of constraining Russia. But yes, they have also posited China as the main threat long-term, because they see it as a country which has both the intention and the capability of bending or changing the rules of the road in their favor. So here the US undertakes to ensure that it will never be outcompeted by authoritarian governments.
Right. We've run out of time, Ambassador Shankar, unfortunately, but yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, the other elements of the strategy, and it's part of the same thing of outcompeting China and constraining Russia, includes building American economic and technological power and strengthening its democratic institutions, strengthening democracies overseas, and working closely with allies and partners in pursuit of shared democratic values and in pursuit of a free and open rules-based international order.
Right. Thank you so much, Ambassador Meera Shankar, for joining us here on the program. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. But don't go anywhere. News continues right here on CNBC TV18. We'll get you an exclusive interview in just a short while from now. Salil Parekh in conversation with my colleague Ritu Singh.